Live high off the hog to supersize your business. Two little piggies here, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and our idiom today is to live high off the hog. This is an interesting idiom. It's from the 19th century American South, probably because there was lots of barbecues in the South and they did lots of pig roasts and things. And the belief started to be that if you ate the cuts of the pig that were higher up on the pig versus below the belly, like the chitlins and the intestines and things like that, it was believed that the loins and the ribs and the higher cuts of meat were of better quality. Therefore, eating high off the hog was somehow better than eating the lower parts of the hog. Now, I don't know about you. I like pork. I don't have any religious beliefs or anything that keep me from eating meat or eating pork. And I love a good pork loin every once in a while, like so many people do, but I also like pickled pig's feet, so go figure. Each of us are different, and that's what this idiom reminds me of. Although it means and infers to live a rich lifestyle or to live and own a lot of expensive things or live in luxury, luxury is relative, right? What is luxury to one person might be an absolute necessity to another. I was thinking this morning, if I were to look at my life at different time periods, I would judge it as some things. Now I would judge the way I lived in my previous times in my life as living high off the hog, living in a lifestyle and a way that is just extravagant and unnecessary for my life now. But there's reasons for that. I was raising kids, had a family to take care of. So if I looked at something as simple as how much food I had in the pantry when I was raising my family versus how much food I keep in the pantry now, if I were to look at that, I would say that that was living high off the hog. It was ridiculous, the amount of stuff and food stuff that we would keep in the pantry. But, you know, of course I could justify that as being a necessity, because what if the kids had friends over? What if we had company? What if the family came over? So we have to have all these things on hand in case we might need them. And guess what? The pantry was always getting emptied on a regular basis. So in that time frame, in that period of my life, it probably was more of a necessity than what I would consider to be a luxury nowadays. So living high off the hog, how can we use this to grow and supersize and build our business? Because if you think about having a lot of expensive things or having a lot of things that other people think are expensive, how do you use that to demonstrate, number one, for your people, number two, for your customers, number three, for the competition, that you really are ahead of your field by doing more for your customers, giving more value, by giving them more than anyone else can give them. You have a huge competitive advantage and an edge over anyone else that could serve them. By treating them and considering their experience with you and your organization and making sure you're giving them incredible value for what they receive in exchange, you will build in lifelong customers. And I think that's the goal of most of us when we're creating our companies. We want to have an impact. We want to have lifelong customers. We don't want somebody that just comes and buys one little piggy from us or one little pork roast and then we never see them again. At least that's always been my perspective in my business building. And if we want to build a business that sustains and lasts and stands the test of time, and that we can leave a legacy for our children perhaps, we want to make sure that we are setting a good example. We are teaching people how they can live a better life, how they can improve their situation and live more high off the hog and have more and better and different things than they might have in their lives right now. So we can use it to set the example. We can use it in how we treat people. We want to treat people at a higher level, always, not at a lower level. We want to be giving them more, not less. And so that's what some of the things I think of with this idiom. Also reminds me that everything is relative, right? We get to define what is a luxury or not. A $10,000 or $25,000 Rolex doesn't keep any better time than my 97 or I don't even know, this was a gift, Fitbit, right? They both keep, actually, the Fitbit probably keeps better time because it's tied into the satellites and the internet and everything. So it actually probably keeps better time than the Rolex. I am not going to say whether I do or do not have a Rolex because it's not pertinent to the conversation. But living high off the hog and the example that we set for other people is very, very important, especially with our businesses, especially when we're leading our business or any area of a business or being the example and the leader in any area and aspect of our life. The example that we set is critical. You know, we can all say and talk a good talk, but if we're not demonstrating that with our actions and our beliefs and the things that we actually do, then it's really very meaningless. So I would love to know what your experience with this idiom has been, live high off the hog. I would have to think long and hard to know if I have ever actually said they're living high off the hog. I don't think I've ever used this expression. I think it's more popular in the South. I could be wrong, but you know, I'm in the Midwest here in Wisconsin, and it's not a huge expression. I know I've heard it, and I know I've read it because I do know the meaning of it, but it's just not really popular around here. So I'd love to know your experience with this idiom, how you think it might apply to your business and growing your business, or if you just think, nah, it's got nothing to do with me. This is nothing to do with me. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow with another interesting idiom. What does it mean? Where does it come from? And how might you apply it to your life right now? Go out, make it an amazing day, and I will be with you tomorrow.